Hi, it's Dot from dot2trot.com, and on this cold, wet day, I'm going to be making a little bit a light lunch for us today. And what I'm going to do is make a pizza. And what makes my pizza a little bit light compared to pizza you get from Domino's or Pizza Hut or wherever you order it from is my crust is going to be made out of eggplant. So this is a fun little recipe that I discovered as I started learning more and more about Julia Childs. This is actually her eggplant pizza recipe. It's a very easy to put together. The key here is really preparing the eggplant, and toppings, you can use whatever toppings you want. And today what I'm using are, I have diced up pepperoni, woohoo! I have very thinly sliced mushrooms. I diced up an olive, a green olive. You can use black olives if you prefer. I have some thinly sliced red pepper and some really thinly sliced golden cherry tomatoes. I'm also using shredded mozzarella and grated parmesan. Now, the nice thing about this is whatever toppings you want to use, if you prefer sausage to pepperoni, if you want to use ground beef, chicken, if you want to use basil, go right ahead. You can use whatever you want because it's your pizza. You make it to what you want it to taste like. So I'm sticking with, the ingredients I have today. And right now what I'm going to do is prepare the eggplant. So let me clear the area and we'll start working on that. All right, my eggplant is washed. It's ready to go. I've got my table salt here and some paper towels, a triple layered of paper towels. What you're going to do right off the bat is you're just going to cut off the ends of your eggplant. You don't want to use those. So go ahead and put them to the side. And then what you're going to do is you're going to slice up your eggplant. You want it at least 1/2 inch in thickness because you are going to bake these. But you're just going to go ahead and slice it. And I'm not the most evenest slicer, but something like this can be a little bit thinner, but you don't want to go below 1/2 inch. I'm going to go ahead and put these on a paper towel as I slice. All right, I have my eggplant sliced. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to take the table salt and I'm going to go ahead and salt the eggplant. And I'm going to salt both sides. And what I'm doing here is eggplant tends, at least to me and some people, has a bit of a bitter taste. And so what you do is you salt your eggplant. I'm going to flip them here. And that's to draw out the moisture from it and basically that bitter taste. So you salt it and you're going to leave it for about anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes depending on the eggplant. I'm going to leave these for close to 30 minutes because of how thick they are. Okay, I have everything salted. I'm going to let them sit for about 30 minutes, and then when we come back, you'll see, hopefully I'll be able to show you the moisture that's on top that gets drawn out from the eggplant. All right, it's been about 30 minutes. I've got very, very sweaty eggplants, and we'll try to insert a picture so you can get an idea, but if you can see some of the water just falling off of it, and this spot is extremely damp. So what you do, because you've got some excess salt on there and liquid, you just go ahead and wipe them off. And you just wipe everything off to dry it off and get, and the reason you're going to be doing that is because the next step is going to be this. You're going to take a trusty little brush. You also have some olive oil here, or I do, and it's a basting olive oil. I don't use extra virgin olive oil because extra virgin is really meant for using raw, if you will, or on top of a salad. You eat it. This one is for basting and for cooking your meat, so it has a higher smoke point than the extra virgin when it gets into the oven. Now with eggplant, you want to be careful. I'm only using about 2 tablespoons of olive oil for this. I'm just going to brush it onto my eggplant. Now, eggplants, I find, are very, very greedy little things, and they tend to really absorb your olive oil. So there's always a risk of thinking you're going to put too much on. So you just want to go ahead and brush it. And then I have a pan that's lightly oiled already. So I'm just going to go ahead and put my eggplant right on there. I'm going to cook it for about 15 minutes. It might be a little bit longer since I'm using a convection oven. It cooks faster, but it could be anywhere from 15 to 25 minutes depending if you're using convection versus a regular oven. And what you're going to do, you're going to cook it at 375 to soften it up, but you don't want it to get mushy. That's really important, but you do want the eggplant to get soft. It's firm right now. And when it's done, then you'll be able to start adding your toppings onto your crust. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and get all these other slices ready to go. All right, the eggplant is out of the oven. It's ready now to get dressed to make the pizza. So what I'm using is my marinara sauce that I made, and I'll link to the recipe below. And all I did with this was make it the normal way, but I cooked it for about, I took a batch out of my cup, of my container of it, and I cooked it for about 15 to 20 minutes longer in a pan. And what that does, it evaporates some of the excess moisture out of it, so it thickens up. So it's ready to go for on top of the crust for my pizza. So all I'm going to do is just take just sort of a dollop and you spread it around. And like pizzas, I don't go all the way to the edge. And you just sort of dollop it and spread it. This is a bigger piece, so I'm going to use a little bit more. You don't want to use a whole lot because, you know, you don't want it, the weight of the pizza to sort of make the, to get the eggplant excessively, you don't want to get it excessively soggy. You don't want it to be, you know, too heavy for the eggplant to support it. So I'm just going to go ahead and dress all of these with the sauce first. All right, I have the sauce on. So now what I'm going to do is add in my Parmesan cheese on top of it. And this, you really want to get the cheese on. And then you want to just sort of smear it. You want to flatten it a little bit. And you definitely can be generous with your cheese. I'm a big in favor of that. Alrighty. It's got my Parmesan on. Now what I've got is a little bit of mozzarella. I'm going to come back with the mozzarella again. I'm going to put a little bit on. I'm going to top my toppings with the mozzarella, is what I'm doing. And lastly, I'm going to come back again, wipe off my hands, my fingers. I'm going to come back again with the mozzarella and just put a little bit on top so the cheese melts on top of my toppings too. And what I'm going to do when I get the cheese on, it's going to go back in the oven, but it's going to go under the broiler for about, 10 minutes, if even that. You really just want to do it until your cheese melts. All right. And so now what I'm going to do is get this puppy under the broiler, and it should be ready in about 10 minutes for some tasty pizza. All right, the pizza's done. It is amazing. It looks awesome. It smells great. What I did halfway through the broiling time was I took I had it on a low broiler setting. So I took the 4 pieces that were on the outside because they weren't as crispy looking or the cheese hadn't browned the way I wanted it to. And I just moved them to the inside to give them a light browning. And it smells absolutely wonderful. It takes less than 10 minutes once you get them under the broiler and ready to go. But it's a perfect little snack. They're delicious. You can serve them at parties if you want. And they also make a great lunch too, if it's just you and maybe a friend or two. So go ahead and give Julia Child's recipe of eggplant pizza a try. Trust me, you won't regret it. It tastes just like pizza. So, till next time.